Hey, welcome to my show, and I'm going to be giving you 14 or 15 mistakes that women make, during the early times of their relationship, especially when you are at the acquaintance stage. 14 of them. Without waste of time, I am just going to start. You do not know your value. Number one. All right. And this might be one of the most common issues amongst women who fall in love with a guy that they just met newly. Now, do you ever realize that you chase after the bad boys who treat you so poorly, and even at that, on top of it, you still want them more? You're still the one chasing and begging, or finding out why they're ghosting you or why they're not talking to you anymore. Are you always attracted to the guys who are emotionally unavailable? Are you usually very afraid to tell them what you want, state your boundaries, even when they declare their intentions for you at the start of the relationship? Do you put up with nonsense expecting that it will magically change? Which obviously it will not. If your answers to all of this is yes, then I say you're not far alone. I mean, like, we've been in that club before, where we've graduated, and I'm just saying, welcome to that club. All right? Welcome to that club. And I would say to you, my love, you do not value yourself. You do not know your value. You do not know your worth. I would ring it in your brain. You do not know your worth. And until you know your worth, you will keep moving around a roller coaster in this type of relationships that you find yourself in. The truth is that there are only two fears in the human condition. One is that you're not enough. Two is that you won't be loved. And honey, let me be clear with you. This will keep you single until it changes. Ironically, the thing that will keep you stuck here for years, for decades even, is that no man can really respect a woman who would allow him to treat her so horribly. So this truly is a self-inflicted wound that you've put upon yourself because you allowed it on yourself. I'm sorry for being blunt at this moment, but the truth will set you free, even if it makes you angry or defensive. But I care enough to level with you so that you could actually have all the love that you truly deserve. So women, know your self-worth to walk away from any form of disrespect at the earliest time. Some men don't see your worth until you show them by cautioning them and setting boundaries. And that's one mistake women fail to do because they fear that they might lose that man. Oh, darling, you will lose him anyways when you tolerate and condone his intolerable excesses. Okay? It's better to lose him now than to suffer the consequences in the future. Number two, falling in love before he even likes you. Women make this mistake a lot. I do that as well, but I've understood it. I know when to retrace my step. Because when you want him to be the right guy, it's easy for you to fall in love with him before he even actually gives you a reason to give him that chance or to give him your heart. And that oftentimes leads to heartbreak. So please beware of falling for the idea of him before you really have the chance to get to know him. Because half the time when we do this, we fall in love with the idea of who he is and who we want him to be in a relationship with us. Now, the third mistake that women make at the early state of their relationship is, trying to change a man or not accepting him for who he is at that point in time. Look, there is nothing that turns off a man like meeting a woman that he's trying to impress and then having her immediately try to turn him into her latest project that she wants to fix. Maybe it's in her criticizing the way he dresses or insulting his table manners, or maybe making jokes of his appearance or grooming habits. I know women, we have a way of doing that because we tend to be caretakers, all right, by nature. But quite frankly, it usually doesn't end well for either party, and it just feels bad all the way around. At worst, this type of behavior might look insulting and emasculating, and you don't want that. People want to be seen, people want to be heard, and people want to be appreciated for who they are. People don't want to be told how they can be, how differently they can be. All right, it just makes them feel some type of way. So if you feel the need to change him with your complaints and your ridicules, your mockery and teasing, or even, unrequested helpful hints, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if he did that to you? How would you feel? Just get to know him first and make him become really comfortable with you. And a little farther down the line, when you guys are really comfortable and in tune with each other, then maybe you could just softly try fixing him. Then he would know that you're coming from a good place. Now, number 4, another early mistake that women make in relationship is inviting him over too soon to your house. See, rushing sex is never a good way to go. But believe it or not, you can move too fast in other areas too. But you see that sex, slow down. Your home is your castle, and the guy that you're dating shouldn't be invited into your house until you really have gotten to know one another on a deeper level, outside of your house, your comfort zone. So bringing him after a date or 2 dates means that he knows where you live before you even figure out, whether you want to be with him or not. It's really a bad idea. Don't do it, honestly. We've made that mistake before. We're not making it again. So I don't want you to make that mistake. Number 5, you trying to form physical intimacy before emotional intimacy, that's a wrong idea. That's one mistake that we make. And I understand it. The heart wants what the heart wants. And the funny thing is that far too often both men and women introduce sex into dating before they've had that chance to open up emotionally. So you're putting the passion before the progress of the relationship, and it's never a good idea. So if he's worth your time, he will understand that waiting on sex will be worth it eventually. And instead, he will seduce your mind. We don't have a lot of guys who seduce the mind of women because what we think about is physical connection. We're not deeply connected on an emotional level. And that is something that we need to work on. Number 6, falling for someone else's man at the early time. Don't do this, ladies. See, the moment that you realize that this man that you've been seeing is already seriously involved with another woman, whether married or dating, that is the moment your connection should end. Don't get too involved. Like, how can you have his heart when it already belongs to another person? And why would you even really want it if he was easily willing to share it with you? That means when you eventually get his heart, he's definitely going to share it with another person who comes next. So I guess that once you know that he is with another person, don't linger on, just go. Leave him alone. Number 7, dating while intoxicated with alcohol is a wrong idea. Of course, alcohol-infused dates can be fun, but you need to be sober to really test the compatibility and connection that you both have. Have more dinner dates and less bar times. All right? This is really essential for you to know what chemistry you feel towards this guy, because alcohol, what it does is that it turns your attention downwards, southwards, and that's not what you would need, at the very beginning of that relationship if you want it to be beautiful. So less alcohol, my baby, less alcohol. And number 8, no matter how rich you are as a woman, paying for everything is a mistake, darling. Paying for everything as a woman is a mistake. It is a man's responsibility to pay. That's why, the menu is menu in bars or in restaurants, okay? Okay, fine. I mean, who could judge a woman who is willing to foot a bill for a date or two from time to time? Yes, she can do that. A woman can do that if you can. It shows that she's independent and she has her own, and that's something to be proud of, okay? But covering him way beyond dinner because of what? No, don't do that. Don't do that. A man who allows you to continuously cover his way without meeting you halfway or returning the favor isn't much of a man to be with at all. So don't be fooled or be blinded by the lust that you have for him, because that's invariably what you have for him at the first instance. It's usually lust before it gravitates to love, and then, whatever the other cases might be. Okay? Don't. And number 9, compromising your standards. Girl, you deserve what you deserve. You deserve what you want, all right? So if the man you're dating can't meet your needs, your desires, your wants, you shouldn't have to sacrifice them to keep him around. I don't care what he's done to you or what he looks like. Let him go and be patient for the right one to come. Number 10, stop ignoring the red flags. That's one of the mistakes that we women, we often do. We basically ignore the red flags. I have done that even more recently. You know, there was a guy that I was seeing, and there were certain things that he was saying, and deep down inside my heart, I knew that this isn't the kind of person that I want to be with, who says something like that, you know. But I kept on ignoring the red flags, and it wasn't a really pleasant ending at the end of the day. So if a person shows you who they are, believe them. That's a great advice that will never get old. Whether he's a chronic cheater, he's a liar, or he's just some kind of a jerk, there is no reason to ignore the obvious. If you want your relationship to succeed, you must open your eyes. Love isn't blind anymore. I need you to know that. So what they show you in character, in action, and sometimes in the silly jokes that they make are an indication of who they truly are. Like I met a guy who said something about, oh, he uses girls and he dumps them like trash. And he said that twice, jokingly. And deep down inside my heart, I knew that this is not something a respectable man should say to a woman that he claims to like. Do you get what I mean? And honestly, he actually proved himself that way. So half the time, you need to listen to the jokes they make. That's their true personality right there. That's who they are. And they cannot change except they decide that they want to truly change. But why would you even want to be with them in the first place? Do you get what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, another mistake that women make is giving him the roadmap to your heart too soon. Don't do that. I know you like him. I know you love him so much and you can't wait to be in a relationship with him. But don't give him the roadmap to your heart too early. Any man can love you perfectly if you give him step-by-step instruction on how to make him please you. Because for one, how would you know his true intentions for you? How would you be able to unmask his personality in order to discreetly investigate if both of you are truly compatible or not? So you have to be careful not to reveal too much about your past, your heartbreaks, and your desires to be in a relationship before he even gets a chance to show you his true colors. You need to see a man's true colors to know if you want to be in a relationship with you. So if you tell him how to make you happy, he could just be following your rules and not being true to himself. Think about it. You need to be smart, girls. You need to be smart. Now, number 12. You know, turning a date into a job interview. Now, I know, getting to know each other can take time, yes? But don't expect to learn everything you need to know or that you want to know about him on the first or second, third dates. It will feel like you're interrogating him. Your question counts, no doubt, but you need to give the relationship time to grow into that phase where you can be asking, lots of questions. If not, you will put them off with the incessant interrogation. Let him come to the point where he reveals himself to you. But if you think that he has stayed too long without you knowing who he truly is, what he does for a living and his family and all of that stuff, you don't know anything about him so much and he knows so much about you, then I think it's about that time for you to put in the rain check. Just maybe he will sit up, because a guy who likes you will be more happy to open up about his life to you. All right? Then number 13, pushing for marriage with a subtle hint. Telling him about marriage, how you want to get married, or how you can't wait to have babies and all of that stuff. That can push a man away at the early stage of the relationship. A man who is meant to be your husband won't need to catch a hint. He already knows what he needs to do, and he will surely ask you. You will know, and he will ask you when the time is right. All right, you won't even feel pressured to ask him. So if you feel like you're pushing marriage, you're probably forcing more than just matrimony. The truth is that men have an almost primitive drive and preference for the concept of freedom that practically lies in their DNA. So add to the fact that it's basic human nature that as soon as you grab someone quickly, they instinctively pull back, they pull away. Now, while that may sound like men do not have any interest in monogamy, that's not exactly the truth. Masculine energy will absolutely commit and, voluntarily give up their freedom after they found that one, right? They only give up their freedom when they're convinced to give up their freedom. When they're convinced that you've offered something better. And that's the truth. So what are you offering to him? Now, number 14, and lastly, I think, you create drama instead of memories. Now listen, women who understand how men works, how simple men are, and appreciate the gift of masculinity, all right, have a way of kissing frogs and turning them into princes. No cap. No cap. Like us women who are jaded, frustrated, or have been burnt too many times by men, they can kiss a good man and turn him into a frog. Okay? So the fact is, women are far more complex and men are fairly simple creatures who actually are pre-wired to want to serve you if you know how to inspire them. Do you get the logic? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So as I said earlier, men are relatively simple creatures who navigate the world through logic and reason. It just doesn't make sense to be all worked up constantly and causing unnecessary drama in that relationship. Men love peace. Men love to prove their value by solving problems and making things easy. They tend to be laid back and easygoing when they're not working. And they typically hate to waste their time on frivolous matters. That's why men quickly get tired of drama and dramatic women, drama queens. So just be aware that if you're the kind of woman who likes attention by creating or stirring up things, it might just turn out that in a very short while, you will have to be alone by yourself. Sometimes it's not all the battles that you need to fight. Sometimes you need to swallow your pride and ignore some battles. Choose your battles. All right, now that's it. That's where I'm going to stop, all right? I hope you learned one or two mistakes here. And if you've been making all mistakes, try as much as possible to stop it. And trust me, you're definitely going to have a swell relationship if you learn these mistakes and you prevent them. You will have a much more better relationship with the next new man, okay? From me to you is, I love you.